They need to be in here so that they can help set up for the humanitarian aid, but they're not going to do that while this place is still under the control of the 15 the U.S. Marines until they move on to their next task. Then obviously there's not a hole for other people to come in and fill. At the moment, the status quo pertains. They are still here. 4-2 Commando are doing what they initially set out to do, which is sweep from where they were put ashore on the Al-Four Peninsula all the way across to here. They're now pretty much here, according to the Deputy Commander, Steve Cox, who told us this morning. And we're just being told that we have to go back on the other side of the berm. It looks like a rerun of what we have just had again. It looks as though the idea of another airstrike is in fact now up and running once again. I am going to leave the microphone. I will come back up on the telephone as soon as I'm able to.
All right, you can see that they're taking cover again as the Marines gather their guns and their bottles of water to go behind a protective wall at Qasr. We're going to stay with this picture, don't worry, as we await a second round of airstrikes at Qasr. We want to go to south central Iraq now to check in with Walter Rogers, who again has more information, and I see fire burning behind you, Walter.
Yes, Carol, the fire which you see behind me is the remnant of an Iraqi army ammunition dump, which was positioned fairly close to the road along which the 3rd Squadron U.S. Army 7th Cavalry has been traveling. There is still a remnant of that Iraqi battalion up there. They've been shooting small arms fire and shoulder-fired missiles at the U.S. Army's helicopters, so we now are given to believe that this unit will be calling in Air Force close air support. An airstrike should be called in perhaps in the next few seconds. We're not sure, but we do believe that whatever's left of that Iraqi unit up there, which was once battalion size, is about to face a terrible pounding from the air. The Air Force can operate today because there's an almost unlimited ceiling. That was not possible yesterday, so it was not possible to call in the jets yesterday. Nonetheless, there are some Iraqi soldiers up the road. A short while ago behind me, a U.S. Army Humvee was traveling up that road. A rocket-propelled grenade was fired at that Humvee. We're told there were no U.S. casualties, which is a rather fantastic event because the Humvees are soft-skinned and an RPG is a relatively formidable weapon. One of the officers here told me that those who fired that RPG at the U.S. Army Humvee are no longer existent on this planet. Back to you, Carol.
So I couldn't hear you for just a time, so you're awaiting airstrikes as well, Walter.
That's correct. We've been told that the position which you see behind me, where the plumes of smoke from that ammunition dump, which was hit several hours ago, still coming up. There are pockets of Iraqi resistance there. There's the remnant of a battalion. It is not clear how many Iraqi soldiers are up there. They're hidden in a grove of trees and some small buildings in the area. So we're given to believe that close air support is being called in, which is to say the place is about to be bombed and strafed, and any of those Iraqis left in there are going to face some very serious firepower from the air.
Oddly enough, Walter, there's almost the same scenario is going on right now in Qasr. There's a grove of trees and a group of buildings. Don't know how many Iraqis are hiding there. Airstrikes on the way. You know, it's just strange that it's almost the same situation where you are.
Well, of course, in a situation like that, any army, and in this case, the Iraqis who are left in that battalion, even this army unit has never been able to identify what battalion it was, but they take advantage of whatever cover, whatever topography they have, which works to their advantage. What they have to their advantage is a small grove of trees, actually, and remember, this is spring here. Those trees are in full leaf, so they have some camouflage. The Iraqis to hide in from the visual sightings from tanks and Bradleys here on the ground, and then you have the ubiquitous low flat mud huts that are used in this part of the world as housing, and that's where the Iraqis are. As I say, close air support has been called in where artillery had been used in the past. U.S. Army helicopters, the Kiowas, have been firing on those Iraqis intermittently this morning, but it's been difficult for the Kiowas because they fly low to the ground. Yes?
Walter, we're going to pause and listen. We hear the aircraft coming to Qasr now.
been on the ground and you hear this overhead, it is an extraordinarily ominous sound, and one can only imagine what must be going through the minds of anyone in those positions in the Iraqi forces as they hear this. General Wesley Clark telling us a few moments ago that often when there is not the expectation of receiving ground fire, often a plane will circle overhead for quite some time, looking at the target, trying to decide. Well, it looks
the Marines are coming back, Anderson.
It looks like they've decided not to drop more munitions, because we know that because before the Marines had pulled back to behind some sort of retaining wall, protective barrier. Looks like whatever airstrike was going to happen is not happening now, and they are resuming their positions.
Yes. Shall we go back to South Central Iraq and continue our talk with Walter Rogers and pending airstrikes there? Walter? Is that you getting out of the car, Walter? Walter, can you hear us?
As we wait for Walter, what you're watching is some fire burning in the distance, smoke rising. Okay, let's go back to Qasr. Listen to David Bowden. Sounds like David.
No, stop. I'm back on the microphone now. I don't need to be put through on the phone. Yeah.
You're listening to David Bowden, British Bull reporter.
Bye.
Just to, if you're just joining us, it's kind of confusing. What you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen is a video image of the 7th Cavalry, where Walter Rogers has been reporting about some conflict that they have been encountering there. On the right-hand side of your screen, you are seeing a live picture from Qasr, where for 3 hours or plus or minus a few minutes, Marines have been trying to deal with a situation of what they are often terming sporadic resistance. We have seen at least one airstrike called in. We have seen one tank peppering an area with machine gun fire. We are not sure what is going on at this point in Qasr. There's a British pool reporter, David Bowden, on the scene. We do not have direct contact with him, so we just sort of listen to him as he gets on the mic and talks. And we are trying to bring both of these images to you at the same time. They are happening in very different places with completely different troops, but they offer two pictures of what is going on in Iraq. Let's listen to David Bowden.
There was a convoy of friendly vehicles on the road in the area, and obviously nobody wanted the potential for a disaster, a friendly fire disaster. So that has now been aborted. The US Marines have now come back up to the top of the berm, which is where we are now. Many of them have been stood down. I can see, one, two, three, a fraction of those who were up here at the beginning of the day when the firefight was at its most intense. It appears to have calmed down a little bit now. Soldiers eating their MREs, meals ready to eat for the uninitiated, getting it all out of their little boxes and having lunch. Everything a little bit more relaxed now, but we've had a very, very tense morning. Some 4 hours or so of a fairly intense battle, a lot of ammunition expended, and a whole gamut of weaponry from personal weapons, M16s, all the way through tanks, mortars, and Javelin missiles, right up to F-18 and Harrier jets delivering bombs on this battlefield.
Fascinating pictures. Do we have Walter Rogers on the phone right now from South Central Iraq? Because he is awaiting airstrikes right now. Walter, are you with us?
Yes, Carol, I'm here, and if our picture is holding, what you're looking at is a fire from an airstrike, actually artillery strike, a number of hours ago. That's an Iraqi position, which is still on fire up there. The Iraqis were ensconced in a grove of trees, substantial grove of trees, plus some small buildings. That unit is about to be bombed and strafed again. The 7th Cavalry has called for close air support, and again, you can see an M1 Abrams tank tank rolling through your frame at this point. And as I say, there is the remnant of an Iraqi battalion up there in the distance by that smoke. The Army is preparing to push on through, perhaps have to fight its way through. But before that call is made, it's expected that close air support will be coming in, that is the Air Force, and they will be bombing or strafing what's left of that Iraqi position up there. Carol?
Is that aircraft over you, Walter?
We can't see the aircraft. It's going to be very high. It's going to come visually out of the sun. We've just received word, Carol, that after initiating the airstrike, it has now been canceled. So, but even if it were not, we couldn't see it because the planes come in very high, straight down. We saw that in the war in Afghanistan. The latest word is the airstrike, which we were told not 10 minutes ago is coming, has now been canceled.
All right.
According to the same Army source.
All right, Walter, thanks so much for your report. And it's strange that we're seeing smoke from different locations. Qasr is in the southeastern part of Iraq. Walter is in the south central part of Iraq. The smoke you're seeing in Walter's picture, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen, is coming from an Iraqi munitions dump that was exploded by U.S. forces. The smoke you see on the right-hand side of your screen from Qasr came from airstrikes, and we don't know exactly what the target was there, but there was word that Iraqi soldiers were holed up in a building or behind some trees in that area.
And that smoke on the left-hand side of the screen, Walter's saying there, somewhere around that smoke, the remnants of an entire Iraqi battalion who were laying in wait in what he described as a grove, discovered by the Kiowa scout helicopters that is moving in advance of the troops in the 7th Cavalry. Again, we're going to continue to follow both these situations on the screen, and let's go to David Bowden in Qasr right now. This is David Bowden, a British pool reporter, about to interview, we believe, Marine Sergeant, Staff Sergeant on the scene in Qasr, the firefight that we've been following for the last 4 hours. Again, this is not a reporter who we are speaking directly to. This is a British pool reporter whose video is available to various news networks, and so we do not have the ability to actually talk to him. We just have to wait for him to initiate the interview. But you can see behind the Staff Sergeant a number of Marines still laid out in position, as they have been for 4 hours now, baking in the hot sun. They're now drinking water. We saw some MREs being passed out. Certainly seems that the situation has calmed down from the firefight that we saw shortly ago.
I know it's strange just to see them sitting and eating their MREs right now.
And again, this is just one small group of Marines in one small spot in Qasr. There has been sporadic resistance, we have been told, on and off.
Hello, John. Lerma, L-E-R-M-A. He's part of the 15 Mu. What company are you with? Fox Company. And you are what, a platoon commander, isn't it? Platoon sergeant. Platoon sergeant, Fox Company.
So it seems like we're going to hear from Platoon Sergeant Lerma from Fox Company, U.S. Marines.
Okay.
If you've ever wondered what it looks like before an interview starts, this is it. Not very interesting.
No.
Okay, you're looking on the left-hand side of the screen. You're seeing 3 Iraqis, one of them carrying a white flag. This is from south central Iraq, where Walter Rogers is. Walter, what can you tell us?
Anderson, there have been bizarre things here all morning. The 7th Cavalry has witnessed. What you're watching now are 3 Iraqis trying to get back to their village, which is up the road, and they're carrying a white flag, not so much to say to surrender, but please don't shoot us. And of course, the Army has gone out of its way to not inflict any civilian casualties. And as you can see, the 3 Iraqis are about to walk past an M1A1 Abrams tank.
All right,
Those
Walter.
guys are just going home. Anderson?
All right, Walter, let's listen to David Bowden, who's talking to us, to a platoon sergeant.
Exactly. We had been receiving sporadic fire from that location for the last 2 days. Yesterday we led a convoy out of this area down to the Old Port area. We were engaged at that point, and we had numerous sightings of individuals. We had been passing intel reports back, getting debriefed at that point. When this morning when sunrise came up, we noticed a couple of silhouettes of bodies that were up in the window. It was the first time we got a good actual visual on bodies instead of shadows and figures, you know, not being able to actually ascertain who they were. Once we got eyes on those individuals, they began signaling down to a 4-man group that was on the ground located close to the building. At that point, those 4 individuals started opening fire. We had everybody man the line, and we started immediately providing suppression down on that, getting our weapon systems into place. Once we got our weapon systems into place, we attempted an AT-4 shot, but that was way out of the range, so we fell short. So we brought the Javelin weapon system up to bear. The first shot went a little bit long. Second shot, direct impact to that building. Once that building was hit, then it became very apparent that there was a lot of movement in that area. We had troops start moving back and forth. We began engaging with the machine guns, and just people started just popping out of everywhere. I had Iraqi soldiers that were located in the vicinity over there to the left of our left lateral limit. We started engaging them. Second post over there began engaging fire at that point. Then once we realized that we were dealing with a lot larger force than we expected, we started putting up our observation posts. They started relaying information and really started bringing the combined arms into effect in order to get control of the situation.
Let me just interrupt you there, just to confirm. Who fired first? Did you see these people in this building and decide you were going to take them out, or did they start firing at you?
Once we saw the individuals in the building, we saw them start calling down to the 4 individuals. Automatically, they came with a posture. We let off the first burst, and automatically they started returning fire towards us.
And then, of course, it escalated rapidly. We had tanks here. We had ultimately airstrikes. This went from being what was a smallish skirmish, I guess, at the beginning, to a full-scale, 4-hour-long battle.
Yes, it did. I mean, we have unconfirmed reports of different Iraqi officers stating that troop strength. I mean, all of that is unconfirmed. I'm sure as this unfolds, the picture will become a lot clearer of what exactly was in there and who was operating in there. But it did. It rapidly escalated into, like you said, from a skirmish into a full-scale battle.
You will know better than most that when the plans were drawn up for this conflict against Iraq, the idea was for you guys from the 15 MU to get into Qasr and get out in a matter of hours. We're now moving into day 3. These guys are slowing you up, aren't they?
Well, no, actually, the original plan was us to roll into Qasr, and we were to be here from anywhere from a 4 to 8 hour period, or as you were, a 4 to 8 hour span of days. It's always uncertain as long as how we're going to be here. I mean, the situation is unfolding, and as the battlefield unfolds, we make adjustments. We could be here anywhere from a couple of hours to many days. I mean, we're not going to move through until we thoroughly have provided and secured this area for the non-government organizations to roll in. We want to make sure that they have the ability to roll in here unimpeded by any type of threat, so that we can get that humanitarian aid in here and start getting that humanitarian aid out to the people that need it.
What's your best guess then, given what's happened here this morning, about how close you are to that objective? Is it still dangerous out there?
I really can't speak above my level what's going on as far as the whole area down here. As far as me at ground level with my squad, there's always a threat. I mean, we don't adhere to reports from anybody that the threat has gone away, this area is secured, we're always maintaining our posture here on the platoon level to ensure that we here are always constantly ready for a fight, because it could pop up from anywhere.
Did it surprise you that Iraqi soldiers that it had been predicted would just hold their hands up and surrender, have put up such a fight and have caused you so much problem this morning?
Nothing out here surprises me. I mean, we prepare and we anticipate the worst, and we always focus our training and focus everything that we do out here to anticipate that. What actually happened here, who knows? I mean, you might have had a rogue bunch that just decided to separate from the individuals. I mean, because we've got reports, unconfirmed, of course, at our level of divisions giving up. There's always going to be a few that are going to remain to the cause. And I mean, that's why we maintain the posture here on the platoon level that we do.
Just clear something up for me. When we were speaking earlier in the middle of the battle, you mentioned 15, 20 people you saw in the distance. What happened to them? Where did they go?
Right now, we have reports that we have individuals that are starting to move towards Objective 5, where...
Objective 5 is what?
Objective 5 is basically a staging area for POWs and any detainees that we have.
And is that out on what became the battlefield this morning somewhere?
Somewhere located in that area.
So if we swing the camera around, Mike, perhaps we could have a quick look at the area we're talking about just behind us. What was pretty much the battlefield this morning. It now appears to be all quiet, but Staff Sergeant, for a while this morning, you were concerned that there were people popping up all over the place, and you had no idea who they were.
Yes, I mean, like I said, as the battlefield unfolds, I mean, anything could happen. Anything that's out there is always going to be always be taken in with the greatest amount of concern. I mean, we're never going to approach a situation as Marines where we assume anything. Anybody out there could be giving up. They could be fighting until we definitely get confirmation and we get visual on what exactly they're doing. We're always going to go into the posture and expect the worst.
Staff Sergeant, we've all had a very busy morning. I'll let you go and get some food and water and prepare for whatever might be coming your way. Back to you.
All right, you have been listening to David Bowden, a British pool reporter who has been following this skirmish in Qasr for the last 4 hours or so. You've just been listening to Staff Sergeant Nick Lerma with Fox Company, the U.S. Marines. And when you consider that man has been engaged in a firefight and has been in active combat for the last 4 hours, he seemed remarkably composed, at least to me. He basically was describing what we have been seeing live on television for the last 4 hours or so. This unit of the Marines was in this area. They saw figures moving in this building that was flying an Iraqi flag. They seemed to be taking an offensive posture. He's, in fact, in Sergeant Lerma's words, he says they came with a position. Marines opened fire. The Iraqis returned fire. Suddenly, according to Sergeant Lerma, people began popping up all over the place, he said, out of the building. They called in a Javelin weapon system, hit the building, and engaged with machine guns, also then called in an airstrike later on. So that is what a brief explanation, as best as I can, of some of what Sergeant Lerma has been saying has been going on over the last 4 hours or so in this one position, in this one part of Qasr, where we know there has been sporadic resistance for some odd 48 hours or so since the area was first taken. Qasr is on the Kuwaiti border, of course, about 300 miles southeast of Baghdad. We are going to be joined now. We're going to stay with this picture on the right-hand side of your screen, but we're going to be joined by Chris Plant, who is at the Pentagon. There's a lot of other activity going on in this region. There has been an incident of friendly fire, as well as an incident of a member of the 101st Airborne, the Screaming Eagles, killed, it appears at this point, by another soldier serving with the 101st Airborne. So we're going to get an update right now on both of those things from Chris Plant. Chris, let's start with this friendly fire incident. What can you tell us?
Hi, Anderson. It looks like there are yet more fatalities in a non-combat situation from last night. So far in this conflict, there have been 2 Marines killed in actual combat. and a number killed in accidents. It appears that last night we had what are probably our first friendly fire fatalities. Two British aviation officers apparently killed when a U.S. Army Patriot missile was fired, destroying the airplane near the Kuwaiti border. The airplane was on its way back in from a combat mission at the time of the incident, and it's under investigation now. It's clearly a problem with airspace management or identification of friend or foe. We've been getting reports throughout the day and throughout the last several days that Iraqi missiles have been coming across the border. Patriot missiles have been fired to intercept them. Patriot missiles originally designed to shoot down airplanes. They're an anti-aircraft missile. Originally, the Patriot PAC-3, which is currently fielded in the region, is designed to intercept incoming missiles. It's very effective, certainly, at taking down airplanes, and it appears that that's the case in this situation. Friendly fire, an unpleasant fact of war. In the 1991 Persian Gulf War, of 146 Americans killed, 35 of those were killed as a result of friendly fire, and of 16 Brits that died in the 1991 conflict, 9 of those were from friendly fire. It's one of the most unpleasant parts of conflict. Certainly, the U.S. military refers to it as fratricide, which is the killing of a brother. Anderson? Which
certainly goes to show the bonds that exist in combat. It is, of course, as you said, just one of those things that happens, and yet is sort of a mystery every time it does. Let me just ask you, and I'm not sure how much we know about this particular Patriot battery. Is it manned by people? I mean, is it a visual sighting? Do we know how the orders happen that something is incoming and the Patriot is fired? Do we know anything about the procedure, at least in this case, that took place?